National payment platform should be regulated by the Central Bank of Sri Lanka. Doctors form another trade union. Coalition comments on possible defection of SLFP members. Government analyst report in the Lafont homicide pending. 160 kilograms of cocaine seized from Ratmalana.
A very good evening. We're coming to you live and direct from the Newsfirst studios here in Colombo. I'm Mahina Bongzo.
And I'm Sandro Ferdinando. Let's take a look at the stories in detail.
160 kilograms of cocaine have been discovered at the premises of the Economic Centre in Ratmalana. Police say that the discovery was made this evening following a tip-off. According to the police, the stock of cocaine was discovered at the Satosil warehouse inside a container that contained imported sugar. The driver of the container has been arrested by the police. Now, the President has reiterated the need for greater commitments towards the eradication of drugs. A district review program under the Drug-Free Country initiative took place at the Panadura Urban Council grounds today.
Public servants who committed themselves to the eradication of drugs were presented with awards, and badges were pinned on student leaders who promote drug prevention in school. I plan on having a discussion with the heads of the Ministry of Law and Order and the departments to work on the legal aspects of apprehending illegal drugs and provide benefits to the officers in order to encourage them. This would include salary increments, promotions and special awards. This will be implemented in the coming months. The murder of Vidya is being taken up in courts. People with no morals have banded with international syndicates and committing heinous crimes of killing a person. This is something that impacts everyone who wants a just society. Those people were using high doses of drugs.
The horrendous gang rape and murder of Sivaloganathan Vidya shocked the nation and sparked protests across the north. The court case continues to be heard in the Jaffna High Court today.
The former officer in charge of the Kodikamam police station, Chintaka Bandara, testified that he produced a suspect known as Swiss Kumar before the Kites magistrate on the 19th of May 2015. The witness is currently serving a 10-year jail term for a separate case. Another witness, a custodian of a casino in Colombo, Anurapriyanta Basnaika, testified that the CCTV cameras at the casino captured the arrival of Mahalingam Shashidharan at the casino. He is the fourth suspect in the case. It was revealed in court that the 4th, 7th and 9th suspects in the case had purchased liquor from a tavern in Kotahena on the day of the murder. A custodian of a lodge in Vallavatta revealed in court that the suspect known as Swiss Kumar had reserved a room in the lodge from the 8th of May 2015. Counsels appearing for the state informed court that on the 12th of May that year, the suspects had planned the gang rape in Punkudutivu. Former Jaffna HQI Mahinda Balasurya testified that a sub-inspector Sri Gajan had questioned Swiss Kumar and let him go without communicating this to him. 41 charges have been filed against 9 suspects. They all plead not guilty. The main suspect, known as Swiss Kumar, is believed to have planned the murder and rape with the intention of video recording the act and selling the footage to an institution in Switzerland. The suspect had been involved in similar crimes on the subcontinent.
We now cross over live to Chaturanga Hapuaratri for the latest developments on the national payment platform. As I said before, Chaturanga is now joining us from the Newsfirst Centre. Chaturanga, what has been the real issue here?
Yes, Mahina, thank you very much for the opportunity. What we have been discussing is that a role that should be played by the government or the Central Bank of Sri Lanka with regard to the development of the national payment platform is being taken over by the ICTA, and it has been given to 3 private companies which has been shortlisted by the ICTA itself. If you take a look at the companies that are involved, we know that a company by the name of Total Pay is involved in this system as well. Now, if you take a look at the shareholding list of Total Pay, there are names like Iswaran Subramaniam, Durga Chellaram, Steve Ephramus, Isha Niroshan Levis Pereira, and Radhakrishnan Senduran. Now, if this is to happen with regard to the normal terms of how this is happening, this should be regulated by the Central Bank of Sri Lanka. That is the issue that we have been raising all throughout. Now, Lanka Clear Private Limited, which the government is now saying is going to be vested with the responsibility of carrying forward the payment system in the days to come, that shareholding, if you take a look at it, 47% of Lanka Clear Private Limited is held by the central bank and state banks, while 53% are held by the commercial banks. Now, this is a clear indication that the Lanka Clear Private Limited will be regulated properly through the central bank, and the regulatory role of the central bank is highlighted in the tasks that are carried out by the Lanka Clear Private Limited. Now, if you take a look at what is happening, the latest development as of today is that the State Minister of Finance is issuing a statement that Lanka Clear will be the company that will be initiating the payment platform for the Sri Lanka Customs Department. This seems to be a correct step, a step in the right direction from the point of view of the government, the State Minister of Finance and the Minister of Finance himself. If you take a look at the ICTA that we've been talking extensively, the ICTA was put into place by Mr. Milinda Morogoda back in the day, and State Minister Eran Wickramaratne, who is going to speak to us in a few minutes, is the first chairperson of the Information Communication Technology Agency, or this ICTA that we are talking about. Let's hear what Minister Eran had to say today.
The Minister of Finance and myself, we took a decision that all banks should be basically immediately connected directly to customs. And I've just received the news that that system will go live this week, which is really very, very rapidly done. And I think it is augments well for the future. There had been a delay of about a year and a half, and the delay may have been caused by there being competing proposals to actually run the system. But it doesn't really matter who is the provider, whatever system, payment system there is. That payment system must be regulated by the Central Bank of Sri Lanka.
The facility was only available to customers of two state banks, the Bank of Ceylon and the People's Bank. From tomorrow, the commercial banks and the state banks will be brought into one system, and then the investors can pay their taxes online while sitting at their office itself.
We are happy that by this move is a very welcome thing, because it is controlled under the regulatory control of the central bank. Whatever transactions that will be done will be secure, risk-free, and will be the central bank too will be responsible for such transactions. And we thank the government, the minister, for taking this step when there are no vested interests in matters like this. Things can be implemented without any problem.
During the run-up to what we have been reporting with regard to the CEO of ICTA, or the Information Communication Technology Agency, Mr. Muhundan Kanage, there was an issue with regard to how the spectrum of this country was to be given to a private organization in the past as well. At that instance, we requested, through the Right to Information Act that is prevalent in the country, the salary particulars of the CEO of the ICTA. However, our application was rejected at the time, and we are now in the appeal process. We are trying to receive the salary particulars of Mr. Muhundan Kanage. But we have received certain documents from a company that is involved in the United States of America, the ICT firm in the USA, where we got information that Mr. Muhundan Kanagasuryam, which is his full name, is receiving about $110,000 US from this company in question. Now, these were, of course, received information from various sources that are providing information to us with regard to this story. And this is the slide that we have ready. $110.2 that he is receiving through a company in the United States. The convener of the Voice Against Corruption, Vasanta Samarasinha, also had more to say on the role played by the CEO of the ICTA.
Muhundan Kanage was put at the ICTA to be appointed as a director there. The president said he should only be a director. He was made the CEO. There is a fraud. The country needs to move forward with the new technology. In that aspect, ICTA is very important. If this goes into the hands of racketeers, then the future of the country is at a risk. There are a number of allegations against this particular CEO. When there are allegations, he continues to be the CEO. Remember, they said they will provide free Wi-Fi. The balloon fell. Where is the work they did? Welcome back. Continuing in more local news, another doctors' trade union expanded its activities today. The organization, named the Grade Medical Officers Union, expanded its functions today by holding its second annual general meeting at the Foundation Institute in Colombo.
The annual general meeting was held under the auspices of Health Minister Dr. Rajitha Senaratne.
Amidst the massive issues the medical officers of this country have, and while these issues have remained stagnant for many years, this good governance government has been unable to resolve these crises. The reason for this is because the Government Medical Officers Association is involved in a different movement against the government. In fact, some of their issues were pointless. They were solely for the purpose of inconveniencing this government. The issues between them and the government were portrayed as a problem between the doctors and the government.
Speeches were made at my ministry that the Prime Minister is a mental patient and that he is taking medication for it. Today there is an inquiry ongoing at the Public Service Commission with this regard. The GMOA meets with Mahinda Rajapaksa and Gotabaya Rajapaksa twice a week. This was the Government Medical Officers Association response to the new union.
We very clearly said that a new medical association has been established under the advice of the Health Minister. Minister Rajitha Senaratne said that these doctors are lining up against the charade. Doctors are rallying together around him. On the 27th of June, he has said that several doctors exchanged views with him to create a new movement. This is that tiny group which has gathered today.
At
the Cabinet media briefing today, the Health Minister was questioned by journalists in this regard.
When a President and a Prime Minister takes a decision, would there be any minister naive enough to drag this down? These are absolute lies. What has happened to them is that there are other extremist groups, and when they cannot resolve them, other associations become more powerful.
Are
you out of your mind? How can Neville Fernando be chairman once the government has taken over the hospital? You think I would hide this and carry Neville Fernando's hospital in my pocket? The post of chairman will be decided once the government starts functioning here. I am the one who chooses the chairman.
United People's Freedom Alliance Provincial Councillor H.B. Semasinghe has been hospitalized for injuries he sustained during the brawl which broke out at the North Central Provincial Council yesterday.
H.B. Semasinghe was admitted to the Anuradhapura Teaching Hospital last night.
Two councillors held me by my neck and throttled me. Another person also assaulted me and my arm is injured. He tried to drag me away. I was suffocating and I thought this could be the last day of my life. But another councillor attacked the person who was throttling me and managed to release me from that situation. I did not feel any pain at that moment, but I felt the pain later in the evening.
Mr. Semasinghe, who is a senior councillor, is not acting his age. He forces his way and gets involved in fights. He steals the letters of secretary and runs away. He clings on tightly to the Chief Minister, so it is not surprising that he has body aches at this age. My finger has broken. I did not assault anyone, but something must have happened during the melee. It is difficult to raise my hand. Everyone who was at the council chamber are experiencing the same. Therefore, it is wrong for Mr. Semasinghe to react differently. A complaint regarding the incident has been lodged with the police by TMR Shripala, the former chairman of the North Central Provincial Council. The chairman has lodged the complaint charging that he was assaulted by 4 UNP councillors and that property belonging to the Provincial Council had been damaged.
They stormed into my office and destroyed a lot of property there. This was government property, not my personal property.
A scuffle broke out at the North Central Provincial Council yesterday when the debate on the no-confidence motion against the council chairman TMR Siripala was rejected. During the commotion, the mace of the council broke in two.
The former chairman was also appointed in 2012 with the assistance of the United National Party. In 2014, a no-confidence motion was tabled against him. Then another no-confidence motion was tabled in a similar fashion. So it ended up as being passed.
Will a group of SLF peers break away from the consensual government, and are back row UNP parliamentarians disappointed with what's happening? Both sides convene media briefings to express how they actually feel.
Yesterday, several back row UMP MPs have met at the residence of Minister Mangala Samarweera. Some are disappointed with the party. Are they actually disappointed with the party?
There are no disappointing people in the tourism sector. I am not aware of that, and I was not involved in any discussion. I know of no such thing. I do not know about that. For it to be a loss, he must leave. It will impact nothing. We have a large number with us. Our majority is sufficient. They will not leave the president's side. There is no need to retain them. They will not leave. We cannot be certain on that. When 18 leave, we can assume that 7 or 8 members will join us. We cannot be certain of that. Let's assume they are defeated. What would happen? The remaining SLF peers will stay in the government, which will remain in power until 2020, or else the UNP will for their own government. The damage is done to the village level SLFP members. So whose deal or contract is in play? The election will be in 2020. If we are to bring our own government, we must work for a common goal. If one is not satisfied with the government, one must start thinking on how to change that.
11 MPs from the joint opposition are waiting for the SLF peer to defect from the government so they can join the UNP and form a government. The party constitution clearly states that one cannot promote another political party or organization. If that is done, one must leave the party. Such things are not done because all must be brought together.
Proceedings at the Presidential Commission of Inquiry today have revealed startling information on bond transactions. Newsfirst Farzan reports on the bond gate.
Deputy General Manager of Treasury at Pan Asia Banking Corporation PLC, Richie Dias, was cross-examined by the attorney for Perpetual Treasuries Limited. During the process, Deputy Solicitor General Milinda Gunatilaka pointed out that other parties have joined in the transactions that took place between Perpetual Treasuries Limited and the Employees Provident Fund, with Pan Asia Banking Corporation acting as an intermediary. He said there was a pattern and the other parties have sold securities similar to rates used by PTL to sell to the EPF. Richie Dias was questioned on a series of 32 documented transactions. Attorney for PTL pointed out, in some transactions, the securities movement from the client to PABC and back have not been documented. The witness said it was a shortcoming from the back office of PABC that the steps were not documented. However, he said the final step, which is the sale to the EPF, was documented. He testified that this was also mentioned to the central bank auditors in March 2016. However, the audit report was never revealed. The attorney for PTL said the oversight of PABC was a serious violation, to which Deputy Solicitor General remarked that Perpetual Treasuries had done the same on many occasions. Of the 32 transactions in question, almost 15 transactions involved former chairman of PABC Nimal Pereira and his firm NP Capital. All transactions were to the EPF, with PABC being used as an intermediary. The total volume of government securities sold to the EPF by Nimal Pereira and NP Capital using PABC as an intermediary in these transactions was 8.5 billion rupees. The witness testified that the rates for the securities of Nimal Pereira and NP Capital sold to the EPF were pre-arranged. Several other companies have also sold securities to the EPF through PABC using this window. They are Navara Capital Limited, Virtual Investment and Trading Lanka Private Limited, Trillion Investments Limited, Tradies Holdings and Withawel Private Limited. These companies have made their sales at a similar rate, which led the chairman of the commission, Justice K.T. Chittusiri, to wonder if Nimal Pereira had given the rates to the other parties. The commission said it wished to know the directors and shareholders of these companies. Wichi Dias said PABC was merely carrying out the instructions of their former chairman and their clients. The former chairman of PABC had traded securities through First Capital Holdings PLC, which is also a primary dealer. Wichi Dias believed that market rates were rigged and manipulated, as rates of short tenure bonds were at times similar to those of long tenure bonds, adding that at times high rates drop at an unusual pace. After giving evidence of more than a week, the recording of evidence of Wichi Dias, the Deputy General Manager of Treasury at the Pan Asia Banking Corporation, concluded today. Tomorrow, another witness will be summoned before the Commission to elaborate on the market conditions. From the Presidential Commission of Inquiry, Zulfikar Farzan for News First.
It was revealed in court today that the government analyst reports on the Lafont Homicide homicide are still pending. The case was taken up before Mount Lavinia Chief Magistrate Mohammed Nilheim this morning.
The Criminal Investigations Department had made a request from court to reveal the cause of the death in the Lafont homicide. This was because two separate post-mortem reports were published following the incident. The first report says that Lafont was shot dead. However, the second, which was compiled by 3 judicial doctors, revealed that blunt force trauma to the head was the cause of death in the Lafont homicide. Therefore, the CID had requested court to reveal the actual cause of the death. The magistrate announced that though he is in possession of medical reports, he is yet to receive the government analyst's report. The magistrate ordered the CID to obtain a court order and retrieve the report in question from the government analyst's department and thereafter produce it in court. The magistrate would consider the report and announce the cause of the death on the 10th of August.
The Criminal Investigations Department made a request for a handwriting analysis to be carried out on the letter that was allegedly written by a person who committed suicide in Kegol, who reportedly served as an intelligence officer named Udalagama.
It's time now for a short commercial break. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the news. The Australian Minister of Foreign Affairs, Julie Bishop, arrived in Sri Lanka this evening.
Australian Foreign Minister Julie Bishop met her Sri Lankan counterpart Ravi Karunanayake for bilateral talks at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
We deeply appreciate your support in combating people smuggling, and together Australia and Sri Lanka have cooperated in terms of maritime security, and Australia will continue to offer constructive support to the Government of Sri Lanka as you implement the reconciliation agenda in all its different manifestations. There is boundless opportunity for a growing economy in Sri Lanka to work more closely with Australia.
I extend an invitation to Australian investors to take full advantage of Sri Lanka's transforming itself into an important, viable logistical hub in the East-West maritime area. Sri Lanka continues to encourage overseas Sri Lankans to contribute to Sri Lanka's economic development. Strengthening of Sri Lankan economy and inclusive growth are important factors for ensuring long-term peace, stability and non-recurrence of conflict.
Dengue is a public health problem in Sri Lanka, and my ministry has developed a sustainable dengue prevention and control program. Researchers at Monash University is timely and helpful to implement our sustainable dengue prevention and control program effectively.
The two ministers witnessed the official exchange of a letter of intent and announcement of a dengue eradication program between the two countries.
Speaking at an event held in Colombo this morning, European Union Ambassador to Sri Lanka and the Maldives, Tung Lai Ma, called for reforms to be made in Sri Lanka's imports and exports sector to attract foreign investments.
As some analysts have pointed out, in the 90s, Sri Lanka's exports were around 2 billion, which was in par with Vietnam, and a little higher than that of Bangladesh. Today, Vietnam is at 170 billion, which is almost 17 times that of Sri Lanka. Bangladesh exports have also multiplied by 17 times, while Sri Lanka was only able to multiply its exports by 5 times. Transparent customs clearance procedures, long-term visas for investors, transparent tender procedures combined with measures to fight corruption, and streamlining of procedures to establish and run a business would make Sri Lanka an even more interesting location for investments. I know that work has started, but it needs to be finalized and decisions need to be implemented.
The event was held under the auspices of Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe and was attended by several other key members of the government.
I know there are regulations in the government that makes it difficult for people which are barriers to competitiveness, to productivity. The Finance Minister, the Minister of Development Strategy and I are taking a relook at it so that by the next budget there will be another round of liberalization. I hope to make a new statement of economic policy which will be followed by the budget.
Ladies and gentlemen, the economic development model that the country experimented in the recent decade, the last 10 years or so, needs to change. I believe to change radically, as it relied entirely on domestic demand for growth. For an economy like ours, we need to tap into external sources of demand through trade and FDI in order to attain the sustained GDP growth levels of 7% and above.
The event, titled Sri Lanka, the Next Asian Economic Miracle, Resettling Economic Development Priorities, was organized by the European Chamber of Commerce of Sri Lanka in partnership with the delegation of the European Union to Sri Lanka.
Visiting Foreign Minister of Singapore, Dr. Vivian Balakrishnan, undertook a tour of Jaffna today.
The Singaporean Foreign Minister commenced his tour of Jaffna by calling on the Governor of the Northern Province, Reginald Correa. Thereafter, the visiting Foreign Minister took part in an event to hand over books donated from the Singapore National Library Board to the Jaffna Public Library.
The people from Jaffna historically have been enterprising, brave, resilient, very intelligent people who have contributed so much to so many other countries all over the world. Based on that, I hope the young people here in this audience will have the confidence that you have that same ability, that same capacity to contribute to building and securing the future here in Jaffna and to achieving your rightful place in the world.
Thereafter, the minister visited the University of Jaffna to take part in the launch of the Lee Foundation and Singapore Health Orthopedic Development Program at the medical faculty.
I should like to make a request in another field which is very important to us as the Chief Minister. There was a time when your first Prime Minister Lee Kuan Yew praised Ceylon for its civil service and its economic boom. But today our civil service is in need of revamping and improvement. We should like to have our public servants trained at the Singapore Civil Service College. Or better still, we should have a similar institute established in our northern province.
And with that, wrap up Primetime News. I'm Sandra Ferdinando.
And I'm Mahina Bongzo. Good night.